Okay, thank you very much, Greg, and welcome to the Summit in Houston, Texas. The Rockets 4-3 at home, 1-4 on the road. There is Bill Fitch, the head coach of the Houston Rockets. 551 career wins, just 6 behind Al Attles for 6th place in the list of winningest NBA coaches. And there's Billy Cunningham, of course, who reached the 200 and 300 level win faster than anybody in the history of the NBA. And, of course, Ralph Sampson, 21.3 points, 12.3 rebounds a game. He's also throwing back over 2 block shots a contest. Mark Ivoroni, former University of Virginia player, and Moses Malone comes back to Houston, 23.2 points per game, almost 16 rebounds a contest. Mr. Malone, Mr. Sampson, say hello to Moses and welcome to the real NBA. Bill Ford will match up on Maurice Cheeks, Walker on Ivoroni, Lewis Lloyd on Toney. We'll watch that matchup. Toney had a big game against San Antonio. Andrew wide open and nails it. Andrew Toney, who had a big game the other night, 34 points, his season high against San Antonio, nails the first shot. Ivoroni will match up on Caldwell Jones, Moses on Ralph, and Dr. J on Wally Walker. Rebound by Julius Erving.
Well, the first possession right there, Roger. They're going down into Sampson. He spun and took the jumper from the baseline, which Malone wants him to do.
Lewis Lloyd, of course, had the big opening game, the triple-double on national television against San Antonio. And Toney's going to take it right in. No whistle. Malone, the offensive board, and in.
Well, he's the king down inside. Once he gets in the paint on the glass, nobody does it better than Moses Malone.
Bill Ford pushes it up, drops it off to Walker. Caldwell Jones on top. In and out. And Malone another rebound. Julius. And the foul's going to be on Caldwell Jones.
Foul on number 27, Caldwell Jones. First personal. First team foul on the Rockets.
There's Caldwell Jones, who came over from Philadelphia.
Julius Erving at the line, shooting 2.
You watch Malone operating on the inside. He gets inside position, keeps the ball alive, uses his body, seals off the defensive player, squares it, lays it on the glass, and you have the conversion.
Erving 75% from the free throw line.
He's been playing a lot of minutes, Roger. You're talking about 36 minutes a night, and he's been getting some big 30-point games, but he's had a few subpar halves where he's been absolutely blanked for a half.
Generally on back-to-back games. We saw that earlier in the year. He had a big game against the Knicks. Next night in Atlanta, did not have such a good night. And that's what happens when you get up into the 30s of NBA basketball. Sixers lead at 6-0. Walker. Air ball, and Malone another rebound. He has got 3 in a hurry. Toney will bounce it into Julius. To Moses. And the foul. Called on Moses Malone.
Moses definitely traveled in the lane. Little intimidation down inside with the size of Sampson. Malone posts up real strong, gets it, puts it to the deck. 7'4", that's a lot of size.
Ford into Sampson. 9 on the shot clock. Lewis Lloyd from outside. And Caldwell Jones, the offensive rebound. And in. Caldwell Jones, who's the leading field goal percentage shooter for the Houston Rockets, averaging over 12 points a game, and that's the first 2 for Houston. Philadelphia with the 6-2 lead.
Jones is matching up on Dr. J. We have his big size against Julius.
Moses, the fall-away shot, and traveling again. Moses has been known to shuffle it a couple of times. It just depends who's working the game as to how they'll call it. So he's going to have to be a little careful here. Sampson, move it in a little closer. The jump hook it in.
Trademark. A guy like Kareem, who has the sky hook and the little turnaround jumper, he's got to get a trademark shot that he can go to down the stretch.
Julius off the glass. Malone another rebound. And a whistle. Call by Barry Rogan. Foul's going to be on number 42, Wally Walker, and that is his first.
Moses Malone at the line, shooting 2.
We take a look at Sampson posted inside. They try to force him away from coming across the lane, but he shoots a skyhook. I'll tell you something, that jump hook that he just took there was like from about 14 feet. That's not a 6-foot shot.
But on that particular play, Dick, he was able to establish position in closer than he was the first couple of times down.
Well, you know, if he has to work in one area of his body, everybody talks about strength.
It's going to be Philadelphia basketball. Malone missed both free throws, and it was knocked out by Sampson, so Philadelphia will have it in.
You know, Roger, as I was saying, if he has to work on one part of his body, I believe it's the thigh area, so that he can be strong to hold position down on the boxes and not allow people to push him out.
Andrew Toney misses, and the rebound by Wally Walker, but stolen by Julius Erving. Jay laid back that time. Ivoroni to Malone. Moses will, well, he'll dish it off to Julius, and in. Give the assist to Moses Malone that time. Julius Erving now with 4 points, and it's 8-4 at the other end. Wally Walker.
That's the pace they want to play at, Roger. They want to use the whole 94 feet and run the basketball up the floor.
Inbounds. Foul called.
Offensive foul, number 10.
Going to be on Maurice Cheeks, the offensive foul.
Take a look on it right here. Great defensive parallel stance by Phil Ford to draw the charge.
Moses trying to move Ralph out. Doesn't want him to get way down low. Ivoroni on Caldwell Jones. Fall-away shot won't go, and Moses another rebound. Ralph deflects it. They're going to have to watch that release pass. Lewis Lloyd and Malone the rebound.
That was a vicious rebound. That was an NBA dominant rebound.
But Moses is going to have to watch that. Ralph standing 7'4", putting the arms up in the air, and if Moses wants to go deep and get the easy two, not going to be as easy against this man. 7 on the shot clock. Down to 5 now. 3. Cheeks will take it with 1 on the shot clock and hits.
Basket is good by Maurice Cheeks.
First 2 for Maurice Cheeks, and it's 10-6. Phil Ford, the spinning move, and Ivoroni the rebound.
That was Phil Ford, vintage Ford, when he played for Kansas City and the University of North Carolina.
Toney. And Caldwell Jones the rebound. Jones pulling down over 7 boards a game. 7:40 left to go, first period. There's Caldwell, wide open.
Great movement without the basketball. Caldwell Jones, Roger, is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. He's a great defensive player, blocks shots, and does it all on the front line. He gets no headlines.
Ivoroni trying to cut the lane. They get it to him. To Moses, gets Ralph in the air and slams it home. Sampson's gone for that first fake kick on several occasions here in the early going.
Well, he lifted him with a good head fake.
Ralph puts it to the floor. Ford to Lewis Lloyd, and in. Lewis Lloyd with his first 2, averaging 15.9 points per game. Over 4 rebounds and 4 assists a game. Third-year man from Drake. 12-10 now. Sixers the 2-point lead, and Julius with Caldwell on him, and he throws it away.
Well, interesting matchup right there by Bill Fitch playing Caldwell Jones on Dr. J to try and force Julius, especially in a half-court game, Roger, to have to shoot over and to beat the dominant size that Jones has.
Timeout on the floor. 6:42 left to go, first period. Sixers lead it by 2, 12-10. What sort of impact will Ralph Sampson have on the Houston Rockets? Well, let's take a look at some of the other great centers. Bill Russell, when he came to the Celtics, they had the 2nd best record in the league. The next year, the very best record. Wilt Chamberlain of the Philadelphia Warriors, when he came to them, 3rd worst record in the league. The next year, the 2nd best record in the league. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Milwaukee Bucks, what a turnaround. 2nd worst record to the 2nd best record. And then Bill Walton of the Portland Trail Blazers, the 2nd worst record the year before, then the 7th worst record. But keep in mind, Walton played in just 35 games in that particular year, 74-75. You know, Russell came in with some great players like Sharman, Cousy, and Heinsohn. Chamberlain had Arizon, Gola, and Guy Rogers. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had people like Flynn Robinson and Bobby Dandridge and John McLaughlin. Dandridge, a pretty solid player. And Walton played with Wicks, Petrie, and John Johnson. So gives you a little bit of an idea what some of the great centers did. And we'll follow Ralph Sampson's situation here in Houston and bring you up to date on what sort of impact he will have on this particular franchise. Bobby Jones has checked into the game now. And Julius Erving has sat down as Sampson takes the jump shot outside.
Well, that's one of the trademarks of Ralph Sampson, the perimeter jump shot. However, a lot of people, including yours truly, would rather see him go down in the paint than become a perimeter-oriented player, Roger.
Dick, I think you're right, but I think that'll come with time. I don't know if he's going to do it this year, but Another 15, 20 pounds. He'll be down mixing it up with this guy as he is right now. But he's just too strong. Moses Malone just too strong, as Big Moses now with 6 points.
Well, he can't allow him to get the basketball down there. He's got to use his quickness to deny the ball, and Moses a little better.
14-12. Lewis Lloyd from 19 feet and hits.
Well, Lewis Lloyd, known as Black Magic, you know, he's turned on. He's from Overbrook High School in Philadelphia, and he's really turned on against the 76ers.
That was his team when he was growing up in Philly. Moses down low, blocked by Ralph Sampson, his first rejection. Billy Cunningham yelling for the foul. Sampson the trailer.
Oh! Yes. That's transition at its best. Showtime.
16-14, Rockets with their first lead in the game. 5:19 to go, first period. And there is one thing that man can do, and that is run the basketball floor. 7 on the shot clock now. 3 on the shot clock, and a 3-second violation on Moses Malone, as Toney couldn't decide whether to take the pop from outside or throw it in.
You know, Sampson took advantage, as we look on the sideline of Billy Cunningham, of Moses Malone was crying and moaning at the official, and Mr. Sampson was running like an unbelievable sprinter up and down the floor, and he slammed that baby home while Moses was moaning and groaning.
I think there's one thing we can say. If Ralph Sampson was 6'4", he'd still be a basketball player in the NBA. I don't know if Moses Malone would be at that height. Ford outside hits. Phil Ford has gotten off to a great start with this Rockets franchise, averaging over 7 points and better than 6 assists a game. He was let go by Milwaukee last year as Cheeks throws it up and misses, and Sampson the rebound. This Houston team loves to run with the basketball. Ford to Caldwell Jones, and Ivoroni the rebound.
They're really going to be exciting for the Houston fans. They're playing a very enthusiastic style and a fast pace, which people absolutely love.
And Bill Fitch can go to his bench. He can bring people like Alan Level and Bobby Joe Reed. And a whistle down low. Foul is going to be on Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets.
We watched them working down in the box. There's Mr. Malone leaning, backing in, and Sampson. He's been getting a lot of what we call cheap fouls, Roger, getting in foul trouble, but that'll come with experience. Once he learns how to position down on the boxes, he won't have that problem.
Clint Richardson has checked into the game now. Sampson has had some foul trouble as Toney misses from the side, and Caldwell Jones the rebound. Look at Ralph bring it up the floor. And in! Ralph Sampson. 8 points in the first period. 2014. Houston with the 6-point lead.
He looked like a 7'4" Magic Johnson.
Maybe he will. Maybe he knows something that we don't, Dick. Maybe he should be playing outside. Richardson posting on Phil Ford. In and out. And Ford the rebound. And a traveling violation on Phil Ford.
You take a look at Sampson. Here he is in the open court. People, you're watching a 7'4", putting it to the deck, whirling across the lane. Take another angle at it. He's got his head up. Good change of direction on a dribble. Good follow through. You still win championships with your center playing in the lane.
Yeah, but he's fun to watch outside.
Oh, he's exciting.
Toney takes it inside, loses the basketball. Sampson gives it to Phil Ford. Wally Walker. And in. Wally Walker now with 4 points, and it's 22-14. The Rockets now with an 8-point lead, and Billy Cunningham wants a timeout. Timeout on the floor, 3:21 to go. First period, the sellout crowd here at the Summit in Houston on their feet as the Rockets have an 8-point lead. Great college basketball upcoming on ESPN. Our opening doubleheader, Vanderbilt against Duke, Saturday, November 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time live, followed by Missouri at North Carolina at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time live. ESPN tips off another great season of college basketball coverage with this live doubleheader. Vanderbilt against Duke and Missouri against North Carolina right here on ESPN. The Houston Rockets, Dick, with a 10-0 run to take that 22-14 lead against the Sixers.
Well, it's really been play of 3 people. Sampson's been very dominant, and you had to look at the play of Caldwell Jones, and I'm really impressed with the penetration and the quickness of Mr. Phil Ford. He looks like a reborn player here from last year.
Dick, he went back home to North Carolina this summer and worked some with his college coach, Dean Smith. And it was really at Dean Smith's insistence that Bill Fitch took Phil Ford here in Houston. And spent the summer at home, really worked on his skills, and Phil Ford appears to be back in that form that made him one of the top pro players when he was with Kansas City just a few years ago. Bobby Jones breaks free at the top and hits it. That's the first 2 points for Philadelphia in some span here, 22-16. Franklin Edwards is checked into the game along with Clem Johnson for the Philadelphia 76ers. Lloyd almost traveled outside. Bobby Jones the deflection, and Erving picks it up. They've got a 3-on-1. Bad pass by Julius. Beautiful down the lane, Bobby Jones.
He's made 3 great plays. He made the great steal on the other end, hit the open jump shot prior to hitting the trail for the layup there.
Blocked by Clem Johnson, and it'll be Philadelphia basketball. Now, Clem Johnson's playing on a bum ankle, Dick.
Yes, he hurt his ankle when we had him against San Diego. They throw the lob inside. That's where I'd like to see Ralph work. Throw the high lob up there. He's just got to get a little bit more strength on the lower portion of his body, and he's going to be a dominant player in this league for many a year.
22-18. Forced out of bounds on the baseline was Clem Johnson, and that gets Billy Cunningham off the bench. He says there's got to be a foul or something there.
Well, there's no longer a call as a force. We call the walking violation. He was bumped, no doubt about it. He was bumped. Poor call.
Checking into the game, Robert Reed, number 33, who has returned, and Wally Walker has come out. Walker will get you about 21 minutes a game. They bring Reed in, and he'll give you about 30 off the bench.
Well, he's flexible. He can play also the small forward as well as the big guard slot.
Reed, of course, laid out of basketball last year for religious reasons, and traveling called on Ralph Sampson as Ralph was trying to put on a little show outside that time. And Cunningham urging his team to push it up, push it up. 1:54 left to go. Franklin Edwards into Clem Johnson. Julius down the lane and draws the foul. Foul's going to be on Bobby Joe Reed. That is his first foul. There's a good look at a young man who be a tough decision for him, Dick, to take a year off from basketball, maybe even a tougher one to come back.
Well, he was out for a year and a half, and he gained a lot of fame when he played that head-to-head confrontation in championships against Larry Bird defensively. But he gives them an offensive weapon as well, and he's a tremendous plus for the Houston team.
And it's much easier for Bill Fitch to bring a guy like Robert Reed and Alvin Level off the bench, and he can afford to start maybe a young player like a Lewis Lloyd and a role player like Wally Walker. This is a much different Houston team from 1 year ago. And it counts. Franklin Edwards got a hand in, and Sampson able to drop the shot. He now has 10 points in the first period.
Well, Ralph flashes to the basketball, catches it in the paint, turns into the lane, has that velvet soft touch. Once he catches the ball in that area, he's unstoppable.
Sampson 68% from the foul line. Really, Houston not shooting that well as Sampson misses the first one.
They're shooting 68% as a team, and that's a no-no. You got to get into high 70s, at least in the middle 70s.
Beautiful pass from Bobby Jones to Franklin Edwards.
Is Bobby Jones a player, Roger? All he does is every phase of the game. He'll pass it, he'll run the break, he'll shoot it, play defense. Great guy coming off the bench.
He's blocked 8 shots in his last 2 games. He can do that too. 24-22. And Phil Ford, no basket as Ford stepped out of bounds. Just over a minute to go, first period. Roger Twyville, Dick Vitale with you at the Summit, Houston, Texas. BJ from the baseline, and he hits it. Bobby Jones now with 6 points. Quickly now, Lewis Lloyd the other end. Bobby Jones the rebound, and here come the Sixers, 3-on-2. Lloyd deflects it, and Sampson comes up with it for Bobby Joe Reed.
Great selection coming out of St. Mary's and San Antonio when he came out of college.
Franklin Edwards in the game very early. Maurice Cheeks has been taken out. Cheeks has struggled a bit this year. Erving the baseline, can't get the scoop. Clement Johnson, jump ball.
Cheeks hasn't played like a real all-star like he's capable of playing, but he's a solid point guard, certainly one of the best in the league. They go as he goes, Roger.
26-24, 2-point Houston lead. Sampson and Johnson. And Ralph controls that tip.
There's a lot of size on that floor for Houston. When you're talking 7'4" with Sampson, 6'11" with Jones.
No time on the shot clock right now.
Doesn't matter. Let's go with the 9 seconds.
Billy Cunningham doing a little refereeing from the sideline.
9 seconds left to go first period. Billy said, that's fine. Shot clock's not working. Just go with the 9. Ford puts it up. I don't know if that was an intentional alley-oop to Caldwell Jones or not.
No, we can't give him credit for that, Roger.
Erving from way outside. So a little offense by accident that time for the Houston Rockets. After the first period of play from the Summit in Houston, Texas, it's the Rockets 28 and the Sixers 24. Roger Twyville, Dick Vitale back with you at the Summit in Houston, Texas. Rockets with a 28-24 lead after the first period of play. Ralph Sampson with 10 points so far in the game. And Dick Vitale, where's Ralph been getting his shots at so far in this game?
Well, I'll tell you, Roger, what we're trying to show here, we've been charting Mr. Sampson. As you can see, he's got 2 in a paint area where he's hit 2. He's converted 5 for 7. This indicates a dunk off the fast break, and this is a missed tip inside. We notice a little perimeter here, but a perimeter jump shot from by the foul lane area. On the other side, though, we go to Mr. Malone. He is strictly inside oriented. Here, this indicates 2 dunks, inside traffic basketball right here in the lane. Nothing on the perimeter, as we've seen here a little bit with Mr. Sampson. But he's playing more inside than people have given him credit for. I think he's starting to establish a rhythm that you win in the lane.
And we'll keep tracking that throughout the evening as Ralph Sampson with 10 points in that first period. Moses Malone with 6. And rebounding, Moses had 6 rebounds besides the 6 points. Sampson with 3 rebounds. And Moses now will take a rest as he's been down on the bench since Clem Johnson came in. Sam Williams has checked into the game for the Philadelphia 76ers.
You know, Ralph was really critiqued by a lot of people for not winning big in college. But you know the amazing thing, Roger? Over the last 4 years, the 4 winningest college teams are Virginia with 112 wins, Louisville with 108, and they have Rodney McRae on the bench as we look at Billy Cunningham, the Erasmus High from Brooklyn, former superstar, and North Carolina's 3rd and Missouri 4th. Tomorrow we have that confrontation on ESPN, Carolina and Missouri.
Barry Rogan, the official, talking to the scorers table, and they're going to take the ball inbounds right now. It'll be Caldwell Jones, Phil Ford, Ralph Sampson, Robert Reed, and Lewis Lloyd. Edwards applying a lot of pressure on Phil Ford. Clem Johnson, Sam Williams, Clint Richardson, and Julius Erving. Sam Williams, of course, the acquisition from Golden State. He will wear number 33. Clem Johnson, 6'10". That's Caldwell Jones inside, and Clint Richardson the rebound.
They're going offensively to Caldwell Jones a little bit more than they normally do.
Sam Williams, the pass from Clint Richardson.
Good acquisition. Harold Katz hasn't made a mistake yet as the owner of Philadelphia.
Reed way outside and hits it. Robert Reed with 4 points now. Franklin Edwards, number 14, Cleveland State University, has not seen that much playing time. Rather surprised, Dick, to see him in here so early as Erving takes the turnaround. Short, but Clem Johnson that time, the one fake, and Sampson throws it away. At that time, Sampson went for the first fake, and a 6'10" guy, he shouldn't have to do that.
Well, he's got to learn how to play position defense a little bit more, and you can't go with a fake in this league. You'll be up there all day.
Edwards wide open on the side. He is a shooter. He misses that one. Caldwell Jones throws it down court to Ford. Pass to Lewis Lloyd. And Sam Williams the rebound. Williams can prove to be the acquisition that Clement Johnson was to Philadelphia a year ago. That's going to be a real plus.
That's what I was saying about Harold Katz. They go out and they get Clement Johnson, they get the Williams, and then they make the move for Moses Malone.
Now, I want to tell you what, Clint Richardson out of the corner of his eye saw Sampson coming in, and he threw up a Hail Mary ball. Kicked around. Erving just picks it up with that big hand of his. Franklin Edwards, and in. And it counts.
Good by Franklin Edwards. 27. Foul is on number 27.
Foul's going to be on Caldwell Jones.
There's Dr. J hustling after the basketball. Mr. Superstar, Hall of Famer. Here he is going to drive across the lane.
And Lewis Lloyd.
Couple of substitutions now. James Bailey, number 2, will check into the game. And also coming in number 30, Alan Lovell, a 5th-round pick out of Oklahoma City University several years ago. And Franklin Edwards now at the line to try to complete the 3-point play.
He's really been struggling.
And Sam Williams went right over Bailey for the rebound and hits it. Good job by Sam Williams.
You know, Edwards has really been struggling as Williams has made 2+ plays since coming off the bench. Edwards is shooting 36%, and we know he's a good shooter.
Tied at 30. 10 minutes to go. First half blocked by Erving. Foul going to be on Sam Williams.
Foul is on number 33, Sam Williams.
So Erving got the block.
Foul on Philadelphia.
He has 30 block shots on the year now.
There's Julius, great extension, excellent timing, just a superstar. Every adjective has been utilized to describe his talents.
Maybe we can think up a new one before the year's over, huh? Richardson matches up on levels extremely quick. Now Clem Johnson moved out. That leaves Caldwell in there, but Clem got back to knock it loose.
Well, a great job of hedging, what we call help and recover. Give help and recover back to your man.
6 on the shot clock. Phil Ford outside, and he hits it. You know, he's been reluctant to take that shot, Dick.
Well, that's really been one of the negative parts of Houston basketball is the perimeter jump shot from their guards.
Backcourt violation on Philadelphia.
And Billy Cunningham not too happy. Do you realize, I was teasing Billy before the game, they are 22-4 over their last 26 games, including the playoffs last year. And everybody says, what's wrong with the Sixers?
Alan Lovell misses from outside. Well, the defending world champions are not supposed to lose. Franklin Edwards underneath. And a foul over the top is going to be on Sam Williams. That is his second.
Ball foul number 33, Sam Williams, third personal.
He's really aggressive on the floor. In fact, they say the play of Sam Williams has brought a little bit of a spark to Mark Ivoroni, who's played a little better lately than he did earlier.
Well, we saw that in Philadelphia against San Diego. The day Williams was acquired, Ivoroni had a fine night.
Very small backcourt now. You look at Level and Ford out there, you're looking at 2 midgets in this league.
Reed. Fall away shot over Erving. Edwards, long pass down court to Richardson. Blocked by Lovell. Good hustle by Clint Richardson to get it back and put it up and in. First 2 points for Clint. And it's 32 apiece with 8:40 to go. First half. James Bailey outside. And he hits it. Now James Bailey is a guy who was the #1 pick by Seattle, was traded to Jersey. Looks like he's got awesome talent. But they say one night he plays and the next night he doesn't.
Well, in this league, 1 for 3 doesn't make it. 1 for 3 makes it in baseball. 1 for 3 gets coaches fired. You got to come to play every night.
Bailey out on Clem Johnson. Swing it to Julius. 6 on the shot clock and in. Julius Erving now with 8 points.
Tremendous job of reversing the basketball, getting Julius isolated.
Caldwell puts it to the floor. Loose ball, and Julius will bring it down the middle. Sam Williams. And he draws the foul from Robert Reed. That will be his second.
33, Robert Reed, second personal, second team foul.
Look at Julius getting free right here, getting open for the jump shot. There he is. He's being played by Caldwell Jones. Great movement. Caldwell's going to give him, because the word in the scouting report is he's going to beat you. Let him beat you from the perimeter.
Sampson will check back in the game, and Caldwell Jones will sit down. Moses Malone also will come back in. And Lewis Lloyd will replace Phil Ford to get a little more size in the backcourt for the Houston Rockets, as Sam Williams will go to the line to shoot the free throws. Pretty good free throw shooter. 81% so far on the year with Golden State and Philadelphia.
Played at Arizona State. Arizona State right now has, when you look at their basketball team on the sideline, they got an all-pro coaching staff. When you talk about Doug Collins, the former 76er, Henry Bibby, the former 76er.
And Garfield Hurd's a part-time assistant down there. Williams now with 5 points off the bench for Billy Cunningham and a 35-34 lead for the Philadelphia. As Reed hits it from outside and gives Houston the lead back. Reed now with 6 points.
Reed said he's having so much fun. In fact, he said today that he's having more fun than he did the year they went to the finals with Moses at the post.
Reed matching up on Sam Williams. 10 on the shot clock. And Malone draws the foul as Ralph Sampson went for the first fake again. Ralph has had some foul problems. He's fouled out of 3 of the last 9 and has had 4 more fouls in 9 of the 12 games.
Look how Moses posts up inside. You're not going to move him. He's got great strength in his body. There's that head fake. And there's Sampson making a boo-boo. You teach kids from junior high on, you don't go with a fake, Roger.
Moses Malone now 0 of 3 from the foul line. And Dick, let's watch the next time down to the Houston end and see if Clem Johnson matches up on Ralph Sampson. Moses is 0 for 4 and Bailey gets the rebound. Allen Level will bring it down and sends it back out to Robert Reed. Wide open on top, and he hits. Bobby Joe Reed now with 8 points.
He's starting to get his rhythm and his timing, Roger. You know, he was out of basketball for a year and a half, and it takes a little bit in terms of basketball conditioning.
38-35. The Rockets with a 3-point lead and just over 7 minutes to go. First half here from the Summit in Houston. 7 on the shot clock as Moses takes a peek. And he'll step back. Misses. Clem Johnson, the strong offensive rebound, and in. He just took it right away from James Bailey.
Well, Clement Johnson, a great acquisition, giving him a guy that can play both power forward and center slot.
Clem Johnson is matching up on Ralph Sampson with Moses on James Bailey right now. That's an interesting matchup as Clem goes about 6'10", and of course Ralph 7'4". Bailey blocked by Malone. Well, if you don't get the ball to Ralph so he can take advantage of that mismatch, things like that will happen. Williams on top. Reed the rebound. The Level. He showed you some of his quickness right there.
He might have taken 4 steps going to the goal, but we'll give him the conversion in the transition game. They're really running well. In fact, against Phoenix and Golden State, they had about 30 fast breaks and scored about 50 points off their transition game.
40-37. Rockets lead it by 3. Richardson off the pick by Clem Johnson and nails it. Richardson with 4 points as the Houston Rockets now with Allen Level dishing it to Lewis Lloyd open on the side, and the rebound by Sam Williams, and here come the Sixers led by Clint Richardson. Edwards wide open from on top and hits it. Franklin Edwards with 6 points to the bench, doing the job now for Billy Cunningham as they take the lead 41-40. With 5:35 to go, and Sampson decides to dish it off to Lloyd.
Now, Lewis Lloyd was written up in a book as one of the 5 flashiest players on a playgrounds. In Philadelphia, they say his moves are unbelievable in the Baker League.
Sampson over 2 assists a game, and here's one.
Well, there's Ralph looking over the top of the defense, throws it to Mr. Lloyd, and it's showtime.
And Dick, that's effective center basketball when you can stand out top, have everybody look your way, and then find the man open for the gimme underneath.
That was an excellent pass right there, Roger, by Sampson.
Foul on Lewis Lloyd as timeout now by the Houston Rockets. With 5:19 left to go first half, Rockets lead the Sixers 42-41 from the Summit in Houston. Ralph Sampson with Clem Johnson on him. Dick, why this move?
Well, Clem Johnson right here laying a body on him. They're trying to keep Malone healthy, I guess, for the stretch. Here he is denying him the basketball, laying a hand. As you know, there's a little physical contact in the NBA, but doing a great job of playing what we call ball-you-man defense.
And I guess this is Ralph's house, and thanks to the folks who watch ESPN. We're glad to be here to bring you this first professional matchup between Moses Malone and Ralph Sampson. And I guess the state of Virginia can be pretty proud tonight as 2 of their native sons representing the NBA and, of course, doing an outstanding job. Moses Malone and Ralph Sampson from Petersburg and Harrisonburg. This is the young man from Harrisonburg.
Well, 3 times Player of the Year. The last 2 guys to do that in the collegiate ranks were Bill Walton and Oscar Robertson.
Dick, Ralph and the media here in Houston really playing down this matchup. He says, hey, this game is no important than the game I have in Atlanta tomorrow night, and I got to be ready for that one just as much as this one.
Well, you don't believe him on that. You know he's all juiced up knowing that Malone was a favorite son here. And down inside, that's just Ralph's personality. He's a very low-keyed individual, but a bright, intelligent guy.
Bounce pass goes astray as Bobby Jones couldn't hook up with Moses Malone that time. Houston shooting 52% so far, and Philadelphia 50%. Lewis Lloyd followed his own miss, knocked out of bounds, and Philadelphia will take it over.
Not really a good shot. Elvin Hayes, you're talking about one of the all-time superstars sitting there in a new role. I mean, he's a superstar, Roger. When you test time, 15 years, you are a superstar.
He's played 1,234 NBA basketball games. Malone gets it and travels with it. He's 20 behind Paul Silas, 36 behind Havlicek to break the record. Of course, he'll do that this year.
You mentioned Havlicek. Bill Fitch was telling me that Bobby Joe Reed is his mini Havlicek, and you better believe mini.
Level, the left-handed in. He has tremendous quickness. The foul on Franklin Edwards, and Level can turn it into a three-point play. This guy, Dick, he's a good one.
There's Level on the drive to the goal. Protects the basketball with the left hand as he lays it on the glass. From Oklahoma City, no one really even heard of him, Roger, when he came out of college.
E.C. Coleman saw him in a game against Houston Baptist. He was speaking at a banquet, and E.C. was doing some scouting for the Houston Rockets, and said, we got to take a pick, and they took him in the 5th round. To Sampson from Alan Level.
Tremendous pass by Level. Level had great awareness, tremendous vision, and knew where Sampson was on the floor, and the end result was the slam dunk inside.
Philadelphia wants a timeout as we take a look at the pass from Alan Level to Ralph Sampson through traffic, but he got it through. Philly wants a timeout with 4:19 to go in the half, and the Rockets with a 5-point lead, 46-41. Roger Tribal, Dick Vitale back with you in Houston, Texas at the Summit, where the Rockets have a 46-41 lead. We saw Elvin Hayes on the bench there a few moments ago, and behind Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hayes ranks 3rd on the all-time NBA scoring list with 26,983 points. Oscar Robertson and John Havlicek 4th and 5th. And then the NBA all-time rebounders, it's Wilt Chamberlain, not Bill Russell, who is 2nd, and Elvin Hayes with 16,059. He has been around 16 years in this league, and of course originally drafted by the Rockets and then traded to Washington for Jack Marin, and has come back to finish out his career in Houston.
Well, you know, he had that great career at the University of Houston in 1968. He was everybody's All-American. Who could ever forget that classic victory over UCLA in front of 50,000 people?
Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney, Julius Erving, Moses Malone, and Bobby Jones from Philadelphia. Alan Level knocks it away. It'll be Philadelphia basketball. Level's a very active player, Dick. He always gets a lot of steals, very aggressive out on the court.
Well, you know, Level's playing him really tough, as we had seen prior to that, but Cheeks has got to beat people with the ball.
3 on the shot clock. Erving lays it up and in.
Tremendous finger roll inside. Erving gets great position inside and lays it up for the easy lead.
46-43, 3-point Houston lead.
You know, Roger, watch when Mr. Sampson posts up inside, and I'll call him Mr. Malone moves him away from the lane, doesn't allow him to get into that lane area.
Lewis Lloyd working on Toney, and he nails it. Lewis Lloyd.
I'll credit that to a lot of his size. He's got a strong body. He's isolated. He's 6'6" versus the 6'3" Toney.
Lloyd now with 8 points. Toney right back at you, can't get it. Malone, though, after Jay kept it alive and in. Good job by Julius Erving to keep it alive. And Moses is talking to Bailey as he runs down the floor. Moses with 8 points, his first 2 here in the second period, and Bailey scores underneath. Bailey now with 4 points.
Bailey has a tendency for standing around watching the action too much and not being active enough. When he's active, he's very effective.
Well, he had 20 points and 15 rebounds the other night off the bench. Malone underneath, and a whistle.
Ralph's got to utilize his quickness a little bit more defensively inside, Roger. He's got to beat people to a spot. He's allowing Malone to get the ball too easy inside. Take a look at Malone moving across the lane. Ralph has no vision of him. First of all, he makes the cardinal sin. He doesn't see the ball in his man, and then he allows him to get that inside position.
Dick, so far tonight, Moses Malone is 0 for 4 from the foul line. And, you know, last year he led the NBA in free throw attempts with 788. There he finally gets one down.
Well, he was telling me today about his new house. He's moving in February here in Houston, and it is a palace. He said, I only have 7 bedrooms. I said, what about a swimming pool? He says, you know, I got to have that.
Moses now moves outside and strips the ball away from Level. 2:49 left to go first half, 50-46. Rockets have maintained the lead throughout this ball game so far. Trying to go alley-oop to Level, and Reed throws it away, but Lloyd saves it. And Julius with a good foul, doesn't let Bailey get it up. And so James will go to the line.
Foul on number 6, Julius Erving. First personal.
Doc made sure Bailey wasn't going to get that thing up to the hole.
Well, that's a heady play because Mr. Bailey had himself a slam dunk, an easy layup, and Julius now forces him to go to the line to have to convert both.
As we mentioned, Bailey came off the bench for 20 points and 15 rebounds in 26 minutes against Phoenix the other evening. He was a sixth player picked in the draft by Seattle, was a starter there, Dick, for some 73 games, and all of a sudden lost his job, went to New Jersey. Things didn't work out there, so maybe this is going to be the place for him in Houston.
Well, he came out in 79. The first pick was Magic, and then it was David Greenwood, Bill Cartwright, Sidney Moncrief, who I believe is definitely established as one of the all-time supers in the league right now, and then it was Greg Kelser, and then Bailey.
It's a pretty good class. Malone and in. Good job that time by Moses Malone. It seems like they could do that all night.
Can't allow him to get that kind of position. I hate to keep harping on it, Roger, but you can't let him get that low post position.
Dick, that parking spot's got Moses' name on it.
See, on the other end, Moses will not allow him to get in the lane.
No, he won't. 51-48. And Bobby Jones strips it and saves it. Here comes Maurice Cheeks in the 76ers to Malone. And it counts.
Look for Malone to really have a role right now, Roger. I see fire in his eyes on both ends of the floor.
Foul is on Bobby Joe Reed, his third, and Moses Malone will go to the line.
There's Malone right now. Makes the play on the other end. 6'10", taking it strong in the lane. You got to realize this. He just ran 94 feet to make that end-to-end play.
Dick, I don't know if we've mentioned it, but Moses is playing on a very tender ankle.
I know that. He showed me his ankle today. He was trying to make me the doctor, Roger. He says, Dick, you know a little bit about ankles. You know, some guys would take 3 months off with an ankle injury the way his is puffed
2
off.
minutes remaining, 2 minutes.
Allen Level with the left hand. Dick, this kid showed me a lot a few years ago when Houston was playing Boston in the NBA Finals. I think that was the time when everybody woke up to the fact that Allen Level was a player in this league. Erving got the low position that time. Misses it. Malone the offensive board. Erving again, and a great job by Julius Erving.
They're just moving Ralph away from the inside area right there, Malone and Julius.
Reed drops it back to Bailey.
Now that's why, Roger, he was drafted 6th. I mean, that's an absolute superstar play. But the problem is he does it once a week.
That's why they call him Jammin' James Bailey. 55-53, Rockets with a 2-point lead. And Moses, the nice soft touch. Moses Malone now has taken control in the second period. Lob pass to Sampson. Just over a minute to go. First half stolen by Erving as Ralph tried to go half court, and Level makes the foul. Good foul by Allen Level because the doctor had a house call coming up on that play.
Foul on number 30, Allen Level. First.
Take a look at Bailey now. He spins. He feels the defensive pressure on the right, spins to the left, slams it down. Rutgers All-American.
Bill Ford will check into the game, and Lewis Lloyd will come out now. 57 seconds left to go. First half, and Julius Erving will go to the line to shoot 2. Doc with 12 points so far on the night, averaging 21.9 points per game and over 6.5 rebounds a contest. He misses the first one.
There was a little bit more time on the clock. I think Bill Fitch would have Ralph sitting next to him and try to settle him down a little bit, Roger, because in the last 4 minutes, he really has been playing very inconsistent basketball.
I think he's trying to do a little bit too much, maybe, Dick. But that's not all bad. You know, you like to take the big guy and have him take control. Now, Malone comes out to pressure Level, and he strips it away.
And they did a great job of rotating. Bobby Jones rotated on Sampson.
Bailey with a fine move down the lane, and he draws the foul to be on Bobby Jones. That is his first.
Now we look at Bill Fitch, and he's really went the spectrum. He was at Cleveland when they were 15 and 67, back in 70 and 71. Then he was with Boston, winning 60 a year for 4 years. So he's been crying in the locker room, and he's been smiling in the locker room. And he has a great sense of humor and knows what it's all about. He also can be kind of tough and a little bit on a sarcastic side once in a while, too.
Bailey now with 8 points off the bench. And a loose ball foul on Ralph Sampson. That's his third, and that's an unnecessary foul.
He's struggling right now. He really is struggling on the floor. You take a look at Bailey missing a free throw here. comes right over the back. I mean, there's no doubt about the foul and the contact with his hip and his body on him.
Over the back of Malone, and you know, Moses has fouled out just 5 times in his NBA career. The last time he fouled out was January 6, 1978 against Milwaukee when he was with Houston. And he's got 427 consecutive games of that fouling out coming into tonight.
I think he's going to take Sampson out right now to try and protect him from getting his 4th. He's bringing Elvin Hayes on the floor.
Elvin Hayes replacing Ralph Sampson.
So far, Ralph Sampson checks out of the game with 12 points, 3 fouls. And Malone just 2 of 7 from the foul line so far. Make it 2 of 8.
He only knows how to play the game one way, Roger. He plays with tremendous intensity, emotion, enthusiasm. He's a coach's dream, Moses Malone.
A lot of pressure now, Cheeks and Erving. But Ford able to get it up to Reed. Hayes sets the screen, and Level hits from outside. Allen Level now with 8 points off the bench. And 25 seconds left to go first half. Rockets with a 2-point lead, 58-56.
You know, Level really giving him the little jumper and also the drive to the goal.
Toney breaks free. Ooh, and James Bailey came over the top of Phil Ford. Foul's going to be on Ford, a blocking foul.
Take a look at the drive down the lane by Toney. Ford steps in, definitely charged.
Whoa.
And there's Mr. Bailey coming over the top of Phil Ford. Acrobatic. And who said these guys don't play hard every night?
Dick, as we look at Phil Ford, you know, a couple of years ago, he had a serious eye injury, attached retina, and a lot of people felt that after that injury, he wasn't the same player. He was reluctant to take it down the lane, and that was his game, the penetration, dishing it off. And maybe it's taken him a couple of years to get the confidence back.
Well, you're right. He lost so much confidence, and then he was, you know, whenever you get traded from city to city, that's got to really shake you. He went to New Jersey. He went to Milwaukee. I thought he would have been ideal for Milwaukee because they really lacked a true point guard last year. But he had some personal problems, and he has a little blind spot, Roger.
Tied at 58. 8 seconds left to go first half. Ford outside and in. Doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Ford is doing an outstanding job running the club. He's playing just like Dean Smith had him down in North Carolina.
That ends the first half of play from the Summit in Houston, Texas. Sold out house here. Rockets lead at 60-58. The NBA Tonight continues on ESPN right after this. Thank you very much, Greg, and welcome back to the sold-out Summit in Houston, Texas. First sellout here for a Houston Rockets game since Philadelphia and Moses Malone paid a visit last December. We'll talk about Moses and Ralph in just a second, but I think, Dick Vitale, you have to be impressed in the first half with the play of the backcourt of the Houston Rockets. And we talk about their 2 point guards, Phil Ford, who started, 6 points and 5 assists. Allen Level off the bench, 8 points and 6 assists.
Well, you know, Bill Fitch has instituted the running game, and to have a good running game, first of all, it begins with possession off the glass with your big people, your Sampsons, and guys like Caldwell Jones, good rebounders. But you have to have the penetrator. You have to have the creator. And they've been getting some super basketball from Level and also Phil Ford. I'm so impressed, and I'm happy to see Phil Ford back playing like, I'll tell you, Roger, when he was in college and Dean Smith used to go to the four corners, all the other coaches, including myself, used to wave a white handkerchief because it was all over.
Meanwhile, Maurice Cheeks with just 2 points and 1 assist, and Franklin Edwards for the Philadelphia 76ers, 6 points and 2 assists. Let's take a look at the shot selection right now by Sampson and Malone once again. We've chronicled this for you after the first period. What happened after the first half, Dick?
Well, you're looking here, and we're looking at Mr. Sampson again. In the first half, early, he started off like gangbusters and hit 2 into the lane area, but it was non-existent in the second quarter. So far, Ralph has shown a perimeter jumper here. He's outside the lane. He's got 2 slam dunks and fast breaks, which this indicates on this side. So we see Ralph with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for 8. I believe he's got to get a little bit more in terms of shot selection down inside. On the other end, Malone just took over. We look at Malone right here, and we see Malone with 5 inside layups on the boards. I mean, he just went to the offensive boards. He had 5, and it's indicated right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, versus only 2 for Ralph down on this end, scores off of the offensive glass.
Ralph Sampson, 6 of 8 from the floor in that first half. He had 12 points, and Moses Malone 7 of 9. And 16 points, but Moses just 2 of 9 from the foul line. He's a much better free throw shooter than that. We're underway, second half action. From the Summit in Houston, Texas, Rockets lead it by 2, 60-58. Caldwell Jones with Ivoroni on him. Same starting lineups for both teams back in there. Ford way outside, and Toney the rebound. He's got Cheeks down court and in.
Well, Cheeks can release as he did there with the rebounding power that Philadelphia has on the glass.
Ralph setting up way out on top. Now Ford tells him to go inside, and Moses will lean on him. So you're going to stay right there. Lloyd looking underneath, and that time a good job by Moses as he dropped back on the pass deflected, intended for Walker.
Looking at two really multi-talented athletes right there, Sampson and Malone.
It's off a Philadelphia player with the Houston basketball player. Wally Walker inbounds it. You know what Walker and Sampson have in common besides playing at the University of Virginia at different times?
No, I don't. You got me stumped.
Walker had his jersey retired before Sampson did. And, of course, Mark Ivoroni played at the University of Virginia. There's Wally Walker outside, and he misses it. Cheeks the rebound. Long pass to Julius Erving. Deflection by Phil Ford, and Walker comes up with it. There's a guy, Wally Walker, played in 3 NBA championship games in his first 3 seasons. Ford pushed it off to Sampson, and it's going to be off Philadelphia, so it'll be Houston basketball.
That was a tough pass for Ralph to handle right there. It was in traffic. Phil kicked it off, left his feet, something he has always done, which is really a no-no in running a fast break.
20-second timeout called by Houston, and Bill Fitch is going to talk it over with him.
You know, when Bill Fitch was in Cleveland and he was really struggling there his first year or two, he was designing plays in 70 and 71 at the end of the game, Roger, for John Warren. Then he became a winner, and he started designing a play at the end in Boston for a guy by the name of Larry Bird. You think Bird versus Warren will change you as a coach and make you a genius?
I don't know. Warren's doing pretty good as a television star right now.
No, you're thinking of Warren. Mike. You're thinking of Mike Warren.
Mike Warren, I am.
From UCLA. I'm talking about John Warren from over at St. John's. Bill Fitch has added one dimension to this basketball team that was totally needed, and that is discipline.
Sampson, I wonder if that was designed in the huddle.
You know, I'm getting to believe more and more. We're watching a new breed, watching Ralph Sampson. He may be a legitimate power forward and a big forward, or maybe even a small forward with that new kind of basketball size coming into the league.
Andrew Toney misses from outside. Toney hasn't got it untracked yet tonight here at the Summit in Houston. Andrew Toney just 1 of 6 in the first half. He is now 1 of 7, and it'll be Philadelphia basketball.
We're watching Sampson right here. Now there he is, established in position. He's blocking out. They have Ralph for the deflection.
Moses puts it up, and Sampson the rebound. 62-60. Rockets with the 2-point lead. You got me on that one, John Warren. You had me all excited. You're talking about the TV star. Whistle down low. Foul's going to be on Mark Ivoroni. Ivoroni didn't score in the first half, and I know Billy Cunningham would like to get a few points out of him, keep Caldwell Jones honest, because Jones can help out on other folks if they're matched up on one another.
You got to get Ivoroni into the flow of the game. He did a good job there, hedging defensively and then getting back to his own man.
Ivoroni the rebound.
Strong rebound right there by Ivoroni.
Cheeks to Erving. Jay.
Score that basket.
How do you figure that?
Well, it was definitely interference. We're depending on it. And we watch Bill Fitch here. There goes Doctor across the lane. Anytime you're going to lay it up in front of the basket right there, you know it's got to be a score.
Well, Ralph knows better than this.
That looks good for the crowd. Yeah, all it does is drive a coach crazy.
Give the 2 to Julius Erving. He's got 15 on the night, and it's tied at 62. Lewis Lloyd and Julius with a powerful rebound down low. To Malone. Sampson. Ralph doesn't have an offensive rebound yet tonight. Walker stripped by Toney, and Cheeks saves it, then loses it.
We're seeing a real fast-paced basketball game here. Both clubs really want to run up and down the floor. Remember, Roger, good fast break teams will run about 28, 29 times, and they want to convert about 60%, and they consider that a good day.
9:25 to go in the third. Walker almost has a script. Finds Lewis Lloyd, blocked by Ivoroni. Toney comes up with it.
Ivoroni's made several good defensive plays to start this half.
Moses in his parking space and in.
Basket by Moses Malone.
He has that tremendous strength to lock inside and not allow anybody to push him away.
64-62. Ralph from 20 feet. And Cheeks the rebound. He's got Malone down court. Can't get it to him. Cheeks goes by Ralph Sampson and in. That's Maurice Cheeks.
That's the Maurice Cheeks of old. That's Maurice Cheeks that was an all-star.
And Bill Fitch with a couple of choice words for Ralph Sampson as Houston takes a timeout. 8:51 to go in the third. The Sixers have jumped out to a 66-62 lead, outscoring Houston here 8-2 so far in the second half. Upcoming on ESPN, more NBA basketball from the Forum in Inglewood, California. It's the Chicago Bulls against the Los Angeles Lakers at Sunday, November 27th at 9:50 Eastern, 6:50 Pacific Time live. Herb Brown will join me as we'll take a look at more exciting NBA basketball. The Los Angeles Lakers will play host to the Chicago Bulls with David Greenwood, Orlando Woolridge, Quentin Daly, and rookie Sidney Green. And, of course, Magic Johnson has just been having an outstanding year so far. And we always look forward to seeing the Lakers as they play host to the Chicago Bulls right here on ESPN.
Well, you know, you talk about the Lakers. You're talking about, as far as I'm concerned, the most skilled post player to ever play the game of basketball in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Roger. He had all the offensive skills, defensive skills. I know Russell was a great intimidator and a shot blocker, but offensively and defensively, no one has done it better than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Ivoroni double teams. Leaves Jones open. And out of bounds on Philadelphia. Dick, let me ask you about Ralph Sampson and some of the skills that he possesses.
Well, you know, Sampson, as we take a look at them inbounds in the basketball right here. I'll get back to that, Roger, a little later about his skills, okay?
And a backcourt violation was finally called by Joe Borgia, as Billy Cunningham actually made the call. And Fitch says, well, if Cunningham's going to make calls, and I want to make calls.
Well, he's really disappointed. He's going to make a substitution right now, bring in Bobby Reed to give him a little stability on the floor.
Dick, so far in the period, Houston shooting 1 of 8 from the floor. Meanwhile, Philadelphia 4 of 7.
Philadelphia, very opportunist basketball team, Roger. They'll score usually after a turnover like that.
Whistle, foul on Wally Walker. That is his second. And Bobby Joe Reed checks into the game, and Walker will sit down.
Look at Malone, always active, always thinking of going to the boards. There he is right now, moving to the ball. You know, getting back to the skills we were talking about earlier, Pete Newell, an outstanding mind in basketball, I think said it the best. Ralph has so many skills and so many offensive weapons that he has not really adopted one. He's like a pitcher, Pete said. Guy that has 7 or 8 pitchers, but not one. Ralph's got to develop that one like a Rich Gossage. I got nothing but smoke, baby, and this is it. And he's got to get that one kind of shot inside.
And Ivoroni hits his second one. 11 of 22 at the foul line for Philadelphia.
That shooting doesn't make it into CYO, never mind the NBA.
67-62, just over 8 minutes to go in the third. Blocked by Erving as he helped out on Lewis Lloyd. But Phil Ford, scrambling for the ball, was able to knock it off Maurice Cheeks. That'll be Houston basketball.
While we watch Julius right now demonstrate another one of his skill areas, the tremendous timing, the shot block. When you're talking all-time greats, you better put Julius Erving's name right there with all the superstars.
And it does count. Just before the 24-second clock expired, Reed nails it. He has 10 points. That is 67-64. Pass inside to Toney, stripped away by Lewis Lloyd. Here comes Reed. Great player on the open floor. He'll pull up with the pop outside. Cheeks down to Ivoroni.
Tremendous touch pass right there by Maurice Cheeks, but also a great job by Ivoroni running the 45-degree angle in the transition game.
Tell you what, he learned how to dunk watching Julius Erving. There's no question about that. 69-64, 5-point Sixers lead. Ford's open. They're begging him to take that outside shot. Lloyd takes it from the foul line and hits it. Lewis Lloyd now with 10 points.
Might have taken too many steps there. He's not really a good shooter, but he is a good scorer.
Cheeks hits. Maurice Cheeks now. He has 6 points in the period, 8 on the night, and it's 71-66 with less than 7 minutes to go.
He looks reborn right now in the second half. Cunningham must have had some choice words for Maurice.
Malone switches off now on Reed. That leaves Julius on Ralph. And Lloyd takes the shot. Dick, they've got to recognize that, though, don't they, when the switch-off comes?
Yes, you got to give help, get back to your own, but they're really a solid team defensively. That's one of their strong points and separates them from so many teams in the league.
Toney, way outside, 20 feet. Jones tips it, but Julius Erving gets it. Three-second violation called.
3-second violation.
Well, Moses got his parking spot down there, and he's getting comfortable, I think, Dick.
You know, he's an unorthodox player inside, but he established his position, and he just doesn't move.
Ford drops it off to Ralph, can't get a handle on it, and Julius comes up with a 3-on-3. Erving and draws the foul on his way to the hoop. Foul's going to be on Reed, and that will be his
Foul
fourth.
on number 33, Robert Reed, fourth personal. Second team
Julius
foul
has
on
tremendous awareness.
Sixers
He
ball.
knows where the people are on the floor right here. He hangs well in the air and draws so many fouls.
Dick, largest regular season crowd in the history of Houston Rockets basketball, 16,016.
And it's going to get better and better. Remember, this is still football season down here.
Oh, was that a strong move by Moses Malone? Have it your way. 20 points on the night. And it's 73-68, 5-point lead for Philadelphia.
I think he's earning his honors as a doctorate on how to play the low post.
Belgians graduate school tonight. Lloyd, blocked by Ivoroni, saved by Cheeks. Erving to Toney. And two.
When Philadelphia gets the running game going, they're unstoppable. They blow the ball up the floor, converting transition, especially after turnover.
Well, their defense has just made these last couple of plays, and Ivoroni has been a key for them.
Well, you know, Bill Fitch was concerned about the turnovers and the ability of the 76ers to convert them to layups.
Switching defense right now by Philadelphia. With 6 on the shot clock. Lloyd cutting the lane and in. Lewis Lloyd's done a good job of taking it inside.
Well, he's a tough, hard-nosed kid. Remember, he put some points on the board over at Golden State, so it doesn't really surprise people that he's scoring. The question is, can he play on the defensive end, and can he do it consistently day in and day out?
Moses Malone.
Right now, he can't handle him inside. They might have to make a decision and put Caldwell Jones on Malone, because Malone is just taking him to school right here on the box. Away, big fella.
22 points, and this is a little bit early.
Look at the intensity and the desire and the way he locks on there and just clears Ralph out of the way.
77-70, biggest lead for Philadelphia. 6 on the shot clock. Great defense right now. And Malone cannot block at that time as Sampson is able to knock it down. His second hoop. Ralph with 16 points on the evening.
That's where he has to catch the basketball. Once he gets it in the air and spins and shoots that little jumper, he can't be stopped, Roger. He's just got to do it much more on a regular basis.
Erving now working on Caldwell Jones. 8 on the shot clock. And another 3-second violation. And both Erving and Malone really upset at Joe Borgia on the call. And that is the 5th time tonight I've counted Moses Malone being called for the 3-second violation. Reed looking inside, and Lewis Lloyd throws it away. And it'll be Philadelphia basketball as Bobby Jones will check into the game right now with 3:49 to go in the third, and the Sixers holding a 5-point lead.
You know, this club is going to be extremely dangerous when you come into January or February. Think about this. 25% of this basketball team wasn't at training camp. McRae, Level, and also Reed.
Reed trying to save it, throws it out of bounds. That's a good point. Bobby Jones comes in, and Julius Erving will sit down.
Here's Sampson inside now. A little pride at stake. He's pushing, shoving back. He says, get out of here, Moses. Get out of here. Petersburg, this belongs to Harrisonburg.
Once again,
Timeout on the floor, 3:32 to go in the third. Sixers lead it by 5, 77-72. Upcoming on ESPN, professional football from Canada. It's the Grey Cup, Sunday, November 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, live from BC Place Stadium in Vancouver, British Columbia. Jim Simpson, Paul McGuire, and Tom Eaves on hand for ESPN as it's the Grey Cup. The Toronto Argonauts go against the British Columbia Lions. Both teams made it through the divisional finals with exciting come-from-behind victories. See who takes the cup, the Grey Cup. Live Sunday, November 27th on ESPN. This has been all Philadelphia, Dick, so far in this third period. They lead it by 5, 77-72, and they have done it with the defense.
Well, they're playing tremendous defense, all of the style they played last year to rip through the playoffs. You know, everybody's been concerned about the slump. They're 10-3. I don't know where you can see that they're slumping. They struggled with some people, but like Bill Fitch told me, he said when he was with Boston, he saw people come after them like you can't believe after they won the championship, and I think that's what's happened with Philadelphia. Everybody's charged up. I mean, there is playoff atmosphere here tonight in November.
So far in the game, Moses Malone with 22 points and 12 rebounds. Toney nails it from outside. Sampson, 16 points and 7 rebounds.
Can't allow Toney to get that open 15-foot jump shot.
Phil Ford, 5 assists at the end of the first half, and he hasn't dished one out so far in the third. His team trails by 7, 79-72. Lewis Lloyd has had the hot hand, misses it, and Malone comes up with a loose ball.
You know, people are going to have to be patient with Houston. They got so many new faces, a new system. I think they're going to be really good come January and February.
Once again, Moses establishing it down low. Gets help this time from Reed. And Moses looking for the foul, yelling at the official. No call as Ford brings it up to the other end. Caldwell back to Ford. And Ralph was standing out by midcourt. Now he's going to come in and get involved in the action. Ford off the glass and Malone the rebound.
That's where Ralph has to be a little bit more active. He's got to get some offensive boards at 7-4. I don't believe he has one yet tonight on the offensive boards.
Has 7 rebounds, all in the defensive glass. 10 on the shot clock, and they're just trying to go down low every time to Malone. Moses wants it, but Toney gets it, misses, and Reed the rebound. Lewis Lloyd, Bobby Jones the rebound. Bobby Jones played a great game so far off the bench. 6 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds.
What else is good? Yeah. He's being challenged for 6th man of the year from the guy out of Boston by the name of Kevin McHale.
Toney on top. Can't get the roll, and Lewis Lloyd will bring it down for it. To Reed. Ivoroni keeps it alive. And loose ball foul on Caldwell Jones.
You know, Roger, I've been charting the last 5 minutes, and Ralph has not really been involved in the offensive flow at all. And you can't have a talent of the magnitude of Ralph Sampson not into the flow of your offense. These people are going to have to learn to recognize his talents to people on the floor.
Rodney McRae has checked into the game now. Rodney McRae, of course, the 3rd pick in the draft from Louisville. Had a good outing against Phoenix his last game. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block shot in 21 minutes. And made his first outside shot of the year in that particular game. Wasn't a big score at Louisville. As Toney misses again, but Malone the offensive rebound. The fall away. And McRae.
That's McRae's forte. Really hitting the glass, finding people.
On the baseline, foul on Mark Ivoroni.
We've really had some sloppy basketball. It's gone minutes now without a goal scored. It's been very inconsistent play on both ends.
Clement Johnson checks into the game now. And Clint Richardson also into the game. So Malone and Cheeks will sit down. And Caldwell Jones will go to the line to shoot 2. You know, Caldwell, he's an interesting guy. He's from a basketball playing family. His brother is Major Jones. Had a brother named Will Jones that played in the ABA. Got another brother that's coach at Albany State where they all play there. They even got a sister who plays basketball.
Well, he has, I believe, 6 brothers. They all held 1 through 6 the rebounding records at Albany State. His brother Oliver, as you mentioned, is the head coach down of Albany State.
Bet you that high school team in McGehee, Arkansas was a tough one. 79-74, 5-point Philadelphia lead, 1:08 to go in the third. Oh, Ivoroni just set a pick on Bobby Joe Reed, got the ball and nailed the jumper. Mark Ivoroni now with 5 points in the period and that many on the night.
He's been very efficient right here in this third quarter. They got to go inside to Sampson. He's got to take Clement Johnson out of boxes.
Steal by Ivoroni. He's got Toney in the middle. But he holds on, and they'll slow it down with 43 seconds to go in the third. Alley-oop to Richardson, and in. Oh, and Billy Cunningham leading the applause in the sidelines. Like that play, as now the Sixers with a 9-point lead. And look at Ivoroni's defense.
And you're looking at Ralph playing way at the top of the circle. Clement Johnson's like 6'10", Sampson 7'4". He's got to go inside there.
Reed now Rockets. And it's 83-76 with 15 seconds left to go in this third. And they'll play it for one shot now.
You hate harping on the same point, but you see a talent like that and you get frustrated watching that talent.
Toney loses at 2 seconds, and he can't get a shot off.
That is the end of 3 periods. The score, Philadelphia 83, your Rockets 76.
12 minutes left to go here at the Summit in Houston, Texas. The score, the 76ers 83 and the Rockets 76.
Greg in Texas.
Thank you very much, Greg, and welcome back to the sold-out Summit in Houston, Texas. A regular season record crowd of 16,016 as the 76ers hold an 83-76 lead going into the final 12 minutes of play.
You know, Sampson's certainly a box office bonanza. They've been doing great, especially with walk-up trade as we look at Bill Fitch. Charlie Thomas, the owner, smiling on the sideline. You know, at one time, we should have gotten the auto dealership business. He was the general manager for Red McCombs, who owns the Denver franchise.
Tipped around, Clement Johnson finally gets it, puts it back up. Won't go, and McRae the rebound. Level McRae, Caldwell Jones, Bobby Joe Reed, and Ralph Sampson. Clint Richardson, Andrew Toney, Clement Johnson, Bobby Jones, and Mark Ivoroni. McRae inside, and he draws the foul. Clem Johnson, guilty party. Nick, what about these starting lineups to start the fourth?
You know they're going to come down into their starters when we get down to the last 4 minutes, which is winning time in the NBA. I was impressed right there, Roger, with the great job McRae did posting on the box inside. He's got a great body. You know, I was mentioning before I wanted to finish this, Charlie Thomas, the owner of the Houston, was the general manager of Red McCombs auto dealership, and the salesman here was Angelo Drosos, and all three today own a franchise in the NBA. Why couldn't you and I go into the auto dealership business?
Dick, you live in Detroit. I mean, you ought to be right in the thick of that, right? McRae misses the second win. 83-77. That's being in the right place at the right time, huh? McRae guarding Clem Johnson. 2 fakes, and he got him on the third.
Well, you know, McRae's going to get an education also. He was out of training camp with a bad back, and he held out naturally contractually.
Ralph guarded by Clem Johnson. Richardson on level. Clem Johnson doing a good job keeping himself between Ralph Sampson and the basket. Now they're going to go to Flint with 6 on the shot clock. Caldwell Jones misses. McRae the rebound, and he draws the foul for Bobby Jones. No basket.
Foul on number 24, Bobby Jones. Second personal.
Here's Johnson doing a great job of now denying the basketball inside. He fronts him on the boxes. Not going to let him get the basketball. See, Ralph has got to learn to make that second and third move after they shut down the first one. That's the one great ingredient that Moses has. He has the drop step. He has that second move to shut down the first one. He has to learn that. It's going to take him a little time.
Ivoroni comes out, and Julius Erving in as McRae will get one more at the foul line.
You know, McRae's from a great high school, Mount Vernon. Earl Tatum, the Gus and Ray Williams boys, Scooter McRae, Rodney McRae. You have an NBA franchise out there in Mount Vernon.
85-79. Jones loses it, gets it out to Richardson. Clint wide open, in and out. McRae couldn't get a handle on it, and Clint picks it up outside. Clem Johnson off the glass and in. So Clem Johnson now with a couple of hoops here in the fourth period. He's got 6 points on the night. And it's 87-79 as Sampson, the trailer, spins in the lane and in.
That's the great move, Roger. Once he gets into the paint area, that's the 3rd time tonight he's been in the paint, and all 3 times he's converted.
It's obvious he just plays better facing up to the basket, Dick, and that's why I think he's staying out on top, trying to bring it down, maybe make the spin move, whatever. His first 2 points here in the fourth period. He has 6 in the second half as Toney goes off the glass and in. So Andrew Toney now with 10 points, long past the level, tipped by Richardson. And Flynn will finally pick it up. Great job by Allen Levels. He threw it back in off the foot of Julius Erving. And it's Houston basketball. James Bailey now will check into the game for the Houston Rockets. And Caldwell Jones will sit down. Foul on Andrew Toney on the inbounds play.
Number 22, Andrew Toney.
That is his first foul, but it's the 3rd team foul with 9:55 to go in the game, and Toney will sit down. And Maurice Cheeks will come into the game. Need to get a little more quickness in there.
Well, Cheeks is coming on the floor now. He played well in the third quarter. Had a very poor first half.
Cheeks is averaging almost 3 steals a game. One of the league leaders in that category. Cheeks really plays defense with his eyes. Sampson, the hook. McRae draws the foul. So McRae has come in and done the job on the offensive board and been able to draw the foul. Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, his second foul. And McRae will go to the line.
Well, we watch Sampson shoot the hook from the baseline. Doesn't have really the good angle right there, but there's McRae. Strong hands, gets chopped from behind by Julius.
Talk about a no-pressure situation. This guy, the third pick in the draft, with no pressure at all. Except that he puts on himself, with Ralph Sampson, of course, taking the brunt of the media and the publicity.
His college is locked up into a great win tomorrow night with Kentucky in their opener. It'll be a great day for Joe B. Hall. Kentucky 71, Louisville 64. You said that, not me.
I didn't say anything.
I like McRae's active ability on the glass. He's really active.
89-81, 9.5 to go. Julius Erving draws the foul.
Foul is on number 2, James Bailey.
Foul's going to be on Bailey.
First team foul on the
That is his second, and the first team foul. Philadelphia with 4 team fouls. That could be a factor now with 9:26 left to go in the game.
We watch Bailey foul. If you look at Billy Cunningham and Erving on the line, Bailey can be sensational at times, Roger. He can absolutely be tantalizing with the slam dunk, running the court, doing so many things. And then there's other minutes on the floor, and you sit there as a coach and you say, why?
Philadelphia having a hard time with the night, but not a good job by Houston that time, blocking out as Cheeks was able to sneak in and grab the miss by Erving. Jay pulls up on McRae. Tipped around, and Bailey the rebound. Level's able to come up with the ball. Good job by Philadelphia to get back in the D. And Ralph Sampson.
Why not more often, Roger? He's unstoppable in that lane. 4 times in the lane, 4 baskets.
20 points on the night for Ralph Sampson. Bobby Jones to Clem Johnson. And in, Clem Johnson over Sampson.
There's Sampson coming across the lane. Great move. That should be his trademark right there. That shot.
Moses gets ready to check in. Level misses, and Erving gets a piece of it. Jones comes up with it. 2-on-1. Cheeks and Richardson. Nice pass, and Clint Richardson finishes it off.
Tremendous pass penetration. He drives, he draws, and he dishes to the open man.
Timeout called by the Rockets.
And Houston wants a timeout with 8:23 left to go in the game. Sixers with their biggest lead of the night, 94-83. Sixers lead the Rockets 94-83, and the tale of the paint, Vic Vitale.
You know, Roger, whenever you chart offensive efficiency, and you look at Sampson here, he's been in the paint 1, 2, 3, 4 times, plus 3 layups for dunks. 7 out of 8 times in this area, he's converted and scored. My question is, why not more often?
Maybe because they're denying in that area.
Well, you know, you look down here on the defensive, on the other end, and you look at Moses Malone, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for 13, 10 for 15 in this area, because these along the baseline indicate layups that were scored and converted off the glass offensively. I mean, it's just devastating inside, and that's where the great players who are inside players have to be.
And Moses Malone is checked back into the game. They'll leave Clem Johnson in. So it's Cheeks, Richardson, Clem Johnson, Julius Erving, and Moses Malone. Bailey, McRae, Sampson, Reed, and Phil Ford. With 8:15 left to go in this game, the Sixers, their biggest lead of the night, 94-83. Reed over Clint Richardson, and Clem Johnson the rebound. Releases to Cheeks. Clem Johnson has done a job off the bench. 8 points so far, and 4 rebounds.
Every time you and I have had Philadelphia, he's been very impressive.
Moses got position and an easy 2.
Well, you credit that basket to a guy by the name of Billy Cunningham. That was designed clinic style, great drop step inside, reverse the ball for the lane.
Ralph back out to Reed. Bailey outside. McRae doing a great job on the boards. Loses it, and it'll be Philadelphia basketball.
Take Take a look at Moses now. He's going to execute what we call the drop step inside. Look at the inside position, locks his body on Sampson, and he has him at his mercy. Just wipes out the 6-inch advantage.
Inside once again. Erving got it that time. Julius Erving now with 18 points. Credit the assist to Maurice Cheeks. 54% from the floor for Philadelphia, 50% for the Houston Rockets. Neither team shooting particularly well from the line as McCray dumps it off to Sampson, and traveling is called.
They're still playing Clement Johnson on Sampson right now and using Malone away.
Replacing Ralph Sampson.
Ralph's brought so much excitement here at Houston. He's going to be such a great plus. Just think about that flip of the coin. If they don't get Mr. Sampson, they end up getting Steve Stefanovic, who's going to be a good role player, but certainly isn't in the class of Sampson.
Bailey now guarding Malone. And finally, they blow the whistle as Bailey and Malone going after one another. Caldwell Jones has checked into the game, and Ralph's going to sit down. Foul is on James Bailey. That is his second team foul with 6:55 to go. And a 20-second timeout is called. We have unofficially Philadelphia with 47 rebounds and Houston with 27.
Well, anytime you go to war with Malone on your side, you're going to really dominate people on the glass. Hey, Roger, is somebody going to educate James Bailey about the way he went after Moses Malone down there in the boxes? Now, he went to Rutgers. I thought he was smarter than that. You're not going to go after Malone.
Why was he smarter than that? Oh, you used to coach at Rutgers. I'm sorry, Dick. This program is authorized under rights granted by the National Basketball Association solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited. 98-83, Malone. If he would have got that one, you know it was his night. Stripped by Clint Richardson. To Malone.
I give Bailey a lot of credit. He's demonstrating to me a lot of heart the way he was inside challenging Malone.
And they call a foul on Moses Malone, his first, as he leaned in on Robert Reed. And it didn't take much to knock Reed over, so Malone with his first foul of the night.
There's one of the young, bright coaches in the NBA, has really developed as a sideline tactician. You know what's amazing and hard to believe? That Malone has not fouled out of a game since 1978.
10 on the shot clock. Cheeks with the steal. Ford gets it back. 6 on the shot clock. To McCray. Blocked by Erving. And they call goaltending. Credit the basket to Rodney McCray. You know, so far in these final 12 minutes, just 9 points for Houston.
Ford enters the ball down into McCray. Uses his left hand, and here comes Julius. Definitely goaltending.
The defense by Philadelphia really turned this game around.
Oh, they played tenacious team defense.
After Houston led 60-58 at the half. Erving the turnaround. Cheeks sneaks in and lays it in. Maurice Cheeks now with 10 points.
Nobody blocks out. You can't allow those little guards to get that garbage.
Rodney McCray has been most impressive in this fourth period. 187, 13-point lead for Philadelphia with 5:28 left to go. Cheeks.
Basket by Maurice Cheeks.
Well, the West Texas State young man is exciting some of his people here. I know he's got quite a group here from West Texas State watching him.
Reed back out to Ford and in. Bill Ford. We've gotten into a run-and-gun contest here, and I think that's going to work to the advantage of Philadelphia. Billy Cunningham, though, would like to take a timeout and talk it over. With 5:04 left to go, Sixers lead it by 13, 102-89. The NBA Tonight on ESPN continues from the Summit in Houston, Texas, right after this. As you watch the first meeting between Moses Malone and Ralph Sampson, let's take you back to yesteryear. How about Bill Russell against Wilt Chamberlain, November 7th, 1959. Russell, 48 minutes, 22 points, 35 rebounds. Chamberlain, 48 minutes, 30 points, 28 rebounds. Boston won at 115-106. Chamberlain against Abdul-Jabbar, October 24, 1969. Chamberlain, 25 points, 25 rebounds. Abdul-Jabbar, 23 points, 20 rebounds. The Lakers and Chamberlain then beat Abdul-Jabbar and the Milwaukee Bucks, 123-112. And then Kareem against Bill Walton, January 19, 1975. Abdul-Jabbar, 50 points and 15 rebounds. Walton, 21 minutes, 7 points, 6 rebounds. Milwaukee won 122-108.
And Mr. Jabbar said, hello, Bill Walton. Welcome to the NBA, no longer UCLA. Smile, Bill. You're going to have a great show here before it's all over. He's a lucky man. I tell you, talk about a guy that moved into a lucky situation, because down in Boston, there was a little turmoil at the end last year when he left.
Well, Boston, a pressure situation. This will be, too, because people expect him to win right away. And Julius Erving knocks one down from outside. He's got 20 points on the night, 104-89. 14 wins last year for this Houston team. They're expecting a lot of folks in the area, at least 35, possibly 40, as Bailey takes a shot outside. Reed there to tip it up and in.
Again, nobody blocks out. One of the real no-nos in the NBA. Everybody wants to rely on great legs and jumping ability, and they forget that fundamental block out.
Just 16 points for Houston in the third period. And the whistle outside, foul on Phil Ford. Just 11 points so far in this fourth period. You know, Houston the other night against, Philadelphia against San Antonio really had a great finish. In the last 4 minutes of that game, they allowed just 2 points to the San Antonio Spurs. And that's why they're defending NBA champs.
Well, you're right, Roger. They play that tenacious defense that gives them spurts offensively, and they shut people down, and all they need is that one little spurt, 12-1, 11-2, and it's over.
Cheeks misses. McCray the rebound. Rodney has done a tremendous job on the board since checking into the game. Ford gets stuck in the lane. That was his problem at Milwaukee last year, Dick. He'd take the lane, and then he'd stop, and he couldn't find anybody. As Bailey hits from the side. James Bailey with 10 points, and it's 104-93 with 3:45 to go. Alan Level getting ready to check into the game, but that brings up Andrew Toney and Bobby Jones. You know, when Level was in there, Houston was really doing some outstanding things.
Well, Level was penetrating. He was finding open people, running the ball, but so was Ford. The real difference was they could not handle Malone down in the lane.
Moses. He's always able to get the shot up. Doesn't make any difference how bad you foul him. Foul is on Bailey.
You talk about being unorthodox. Here's Malone at 6'10". Now he's just going to flip this up somehow, some way.
That's not Baryshnikov, is it?
No, he's not Baryshnikov in shorts, but he is an overalls worker, where Mr. Sampson is a three-piece suit worker.
Julius Erving hits the side of the backboard, and Reed will bring it down quickly to Level. 104-93. Level gets caught, but he finds Bailey. And Cheeks comes in for the rebound. Bailey didn't follow his shot that time. Cheeks splits the seam to Julius and in.
Oh, they can really run the basketball. They really get it up the floor, run all the angles. Hey, Julius Erving has to be, when you talk to great forwards, Elgin Baylor, if you were picking an all-time.
Loose ball foul underneath.
I'm going to put pressure on you, Roger. We always talk about asking me questions. If you had to pick an all-time great basketball team, as we look at Ralph Sampson, smile, Ralph, you're going to have a super, super career, no doubt about it.
Ralph's just thinking about that game in Atlanta tomorrow night. You know, this one was of the same importance, according to Ralph, as the game in Atlanta. He said, I've got to get just as up for this game as I do for the game tomorrow night.
Don't dodge my question. Pick your 5 all-time supers. Who are your 2 guards?
Weston Robertson.
No question about it. I agree. Who's your center?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Over number 6 from Boston and over Kareem?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, you're prejudiced because you went to Kansas, but I'm going to go with Kareem Jabbar because he's skilled on both ends, even though Bill Russell was certainly the greatest defensive player.
Elvin Hayes checks into the game. And he'd go on a lot of those all-time lists at forward by fans
Who's your
around the
forwards?
country.
Who are your forwards?
Our forwards are Larry Bird and there's a guy here wearing number 6, I think. Yeah, Erving.
There's also a guy by the name of Elgin Baylor.
107-93. Sixers lead it. 2:52 to go from Houston. Be with us on Tuesday nights on ESPN for This Week in the NBA. Tuesdays at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific time. I'll be there to bring you up to date on what's been happening in the NBA this past week. All the latest highlights, profiles of players, scores of games. You'll also hear a commentary or two from Dick Vitale and the rest of our cast. That's This Week in the NBA, Tuesdays at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific time, right here on ESPN. And if you get lucky this week and tune in, I think Dick's going to tell you about some of the teams that are doing better than expected, and maybe some of the teams not doing as well as expected so far this year in the NBA. Sam Williams has checked into the game for the Philadelphia 76ers. Elvin Hayes in for the Houston Rockets. It's McRae, Bailey, Hayes, Level, and Reed. And Bobby Jones will go to the line. You know, what might have been, Bobby Jones was the #1 draft pick of the Rockets in 1974. But, of course, he signed with the ABA. 108-93, 2:42 to go, and Williams lays it up and in.
He's an excellent role player. He knows his strengths, run the court, block shots, get out on a break, and does a good job.
And the crowd wanting something on that play here in Houston.
Oh, there's a little push-off right there. No call made.
No harm, no foul, Dick?
Well, a lot of that happens in the NBA.
Bill Fitch just says push it. 110-93. 2:17 left to go. And next time Elvin Hayes gets the ball, he'll probably shoot it. Missed it, tipped out of bounds. And it'll be Philadelphia basketball. As some of the youngsters will come into the game now for the Philadelphia 76ers. Leo Routon's the #1 pick out of Syracuse. And Cedell 3, number 3, who had the distinction of being the lowest player selected in the NBA draft, taken away by Dane Suttle of Pepperdine, who made it with Kansas City. Franklin Edwards also into the game. And wholesale substitutions, Terry Teagle replaces Reed, and Major Jones checks into the game.
Now it's really what we call statistics time. You want to get a few stats, especially the new kids on the floor. Routons and Cedell 3 from West Virginia Tech.
2 minutes remaining, 2 minutes.
Malone still in there, loses it, and it's going to be Houston basketball. And now Ivoroni will check in, and Moses, he's still yelled at the official, wanted the foul on that play, checks out of the game. Moses Malone on the evening. We have him with 24 points. Had 16 rebounds on the night for Moses Malone.
Just another night at the office.
Hayes.
Henning. That man is 38 years of age, and his body's still bouncing around. You know, he probably lies about his age. He's really probably older than you and me. Well, you're young.
I know he's older than me. That's a fact. Elvin Hayes has got a 16-year-old son at Memorial High here in Houston. Supposed to be an outstanding basketball player. As Cedell 3 hits from outside.
Reed's greatest competition down there in his conference was West Virginia Wesleyan.
112-95, 114 to go. Moses Malone, as we mentioned to you, 24 points, 16 rebounds on the night.
Smile, Moses. Give us a beautiful smile. Come on, one time.
Just a hard-working man. And there's Ralph Sampson, University of Virginia graduate who entered graduate school in the NBA tonight. 20 points for Sampson. And what do you think, Dick, of the first confrontation between these two?
Well, you know, it was a situation where Malone just absolutely dominated down into the lane area. Ralph certainly demonstrated tremendous basketball skills and his ability to put the ball on the floor. And they're just different players. Ralph is a finesse player, and Moses is strictly a strong inside dominant player. I'd like to have either one.
Spoken like a true politician.
Well, there's no question Malone got the better of it.
Ivoroni misses. Sam Williams, a strong rebound. One more time. And finally draws the foul. Sam Williams has done a fine job off the bench. 7 points tonight. Foul was on Teagle. Ralph Sampson, I feel, is going to learn to go down low. I think it's going to come with maturity. I think it's going to come when he puts on a little bit more weight. I think also in the confidence of just playing against some of these guys. He's got to go up against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar yet. He's got to go up against Bill Walton yet. He's got to face a Robert Parrish, and it's just going to come with time. But I think all the tools are there. It's just maybe a matter of how hard he wants to work, Dick.
Well, I think that's the big question also. Emotionally, physically, and mentally, how bad does he really want it? Those are questions we don't know. We don't know yes, we don't know no. Only time will tell.
Because Moses still thinks there's some young guy out there that's going to take his job next week. That's how he plays. Teagle hits on top. Terry Teagle, #1 pick a year ago out of Baylor. Leo Routen's off the glass and draws the foul on his way in. Well, 36 seconds left to go in this game.
You know, Routen's outstanding passer when he played for Jimmy Boeheim over at Syracuse. And he's not going to get a whole lot of playing time right now. His job is to practice, be a practice player along with 3. With this basketball team, you can't expect as a rookie to come in and play instantly.
Native of Canada. Edwards pulls it down. He'll take it out to the side, put it up. And Major Jones of the McGehee, Arkansas Jones gets it to Allen Level. Knocked out by Routens. It'll be Houston basketball. 24 seconds left to go. I'll tell you, Dick, we had a great first half in this game, and then Philadelphia's maturity and their talent pulled it away with some good defense in the second half.
Plus familiarity, rhythm, timing. They've been together.
Stolen by Edwards. Well, I think he heard the footsteps of Allen Level behind him.
He lost control with his left hand.
McCray, and I think this kid's going to get a lot more playing time as the season goes on.
Very strong inside player. Takes the ball to the glass.
He has 9 points in the final 12 minutes. Stolen by Level, 2 seconds. The tip by Major Jones won't go. And that'll do it from the Summit. In Houston, Texas, the Philadelphia 76ers defeat the Houston Rockets 115-101 in the initial professional meeting between Moses Malone and Ralph Sampson.
And Clement Johnson, each with 8. Franklin Edwards, 6. Mark Iavaroni, 5. Sedale, 3-2. And Theo Rollins, 1. For your Rockets, Ralph Sampson, 1.
Right. Philadelphia 115, Rockets 101. The NBA tonight continues. Let's go to Greg Gumbel. Thank you very much, Greg. Welcome back to the Summit in Houston, Texas. Dick Vitale standing by with Bobby Jones. And, Dick, you might ask Bobby about the rebounding difference tonight. 53 boards for Philadelphia, just 34 for Houston.
Well, you know, Bobby, I was just told you guys had 53 rebounds tonight and totally dominated the glass. Did you see it as the difference of the game here tonight?
I think so, Dick. They were spreading it out, and we just really crashed the boards. And, you know, look at Sam Williams and the other guys, Iavaroni, Malone, of course. But we were getting the ball out. Not only that, we were getting the ball up and pushing it up and got some easy baskets.
You know, what about Bobby Jones? You play as a sixth man. You get a lot of recognition from us. But around the league, I think all the fans talk about the Dr. J's, the Moses Malones. Does that ever bother you at all?
No, not really. You know, I really enjoy it that way. I really feel like I prefer a private life, a low-key life. And, you know, I'm happy with the recognition I get. I don't think I deserve any more or any less. And I'm just happy I'm with the team like Julius and Moses and those kind of guys that, you know, can get the headlines, and I just sort of stay in the shadows.
Your observation tonight, we had the confrontation, the finesse player, Sampson, and we have Malone, the power inside player. Your observation of Sampson and the adjustment he's making in the NBA.
Well, you know, from seeing the first game they played and seeing this game, you know, I see he's going down a little bit more low post, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time to where he gets adjusted, gets a feel for every center. He has to see everybody at least once or twice to get a feeling for that. And you play against a guy like Moses, who's just so strong and just can pull the ball in. It's hard to stop a guy like that, you know, even if you're 7'4".
You know, everybody talks about, they say, Philadelphia's struggling a little bit. You guys are 11-3. You've won like 23 of your last 27 over a 2-year period. What about, as Bobby Jones, you look at your club, the strength of your club, how would you analyze the 76ers?
Well, I think you look tonight and look at the scoring distribution. We had, I think, maybe, you know, 7 or 8 guys over 7 or 8 points each. And I think that's a big key, very indicative of the way that we move the ball, the way we get everybody on the fast break. We get everybody involved in the game. And I think we have a little bit more depth than other teams. And we look at our starting five, and I think, you know, they're the best starting five in the league.
Well, I want to thank you, Bobby. You are absolutely a coach's dream.